Hopefully you've had time to have a look at the grammar about expanded noun phrases. Please try and work on that because it's going to help your descriptive writing in a bit when you are planning your own writing. So if you haven't looked at it yet, please go back and look at the grammar slides. It's all based on Harry Potter as well. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to read an extract from the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone book, and it's the section where Harry is actually at King's Cross Station in London, and he has to try and get to platform 9 3/4, and he's going to move on to the Hogwarts Express to go to obviously Hogwarts School. Now on the next few slides I have put a picture of the pages that I'm reading. They look a little bit squashed on the slides, but I've also attached them as a PDF document if you do want to read them through that later on yourself. So it doesn't look too great, but obviously you can just listen to what I'm saying. Okay, here we go. So, have a good term, said Uncle Vernon with an even nastier smile. He left without another word. Harry turned and saw the Dursleys drive away. All three of them were laughing. Harry's mouth went rather dry. What on earth was he going to do? He was starting to attract a lot of funny looks because of Hedwig. He'd have to ask someone. He stopped a passing guard, but didn't dare mention platform 9 3/4. The guard had never heard of Hogwarts, and when Harry couldn't even tell him what part of the country it was in, he started to get annoyed, as though Harry was being stupid on purpose. Getting desperate, Harry asked for the train that left at 11 o'clock, but the guard said there wasn't one. In the end, the guard strode away, muttering about time wasters. Harry was trying hard not to panic now. According to the large clock over the arrivals board, he had 10 minutes left to get on the train to Hogwarts, and he had no idea how to do it. He was stranded in the middle of a station with a trunk he could hardly lift, a pocket full of wizard money, and a large owl. Hagrid must have forgotten to tell him something you had to do, like tapping the third brick on the left to get into Diagon Alley. He wondered if he should get out his wand and start tapping the ticket box between platforms 9 and 10. At that moment a group of people passed, and just behind him he caught a few words of what they were saying. Packed with muggles, of course. Harry swung around. The speaker was a plump woman who was talking to 4 boys, all with flaming red hair. Each of them was pushing a trunk like Harry's in front of him, and they had an owl. Heart hammering, Harry pushed his trolley after them. They stopped, and so did he. Just near enough to hear what they were saying. Now, what's the platform number? The boy's mother said. 9 3/4, piped a small girl, also red-headed, who was holding her hand. Mum, can't I go? Oh, you're not old enough, Ginny. Now be quiet. All right, Percy, you go first. What looked like the oldest boy marched towards platforms 9 and 10. Harry watched, careful not to blink in case he missed it. But just as the boy reached the divide between the 2 platforms, a large crowd of tourists came swarming in front of him, and by the time the last rucksack had cleared away, the boy had vanished. Fred, you next, the plump woman said. I'm not Fred, I'm George, said the boy. Honestly, woman, call yourself our mother. Can't you tell I'm George? Oh, sorry, George, dear. Only joking, I am Fred, said the boy, and off he went. His twin called after him to hurry up, and he must have done, because a second later he had gone. But how had he done it? Now the third brother was walking briskly towards the ticket barrier. He was almost there, and then, quite suddenly, he wasn't anywhere. There was nothing else for it. Excuse me, Harry said to the plump woman. Hello, dear, she said. First time at Hogwarts? Ron's new too. She pointed at the last and youngest of her sons. He was tall, thin and gangling, with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. Yes, said Harry. The thing is, I don't know how to get on the platform, she said kindly, and Harry nodded. Not to worry, she said. All you have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Don't stop and don't be scared you'll crash into it. That's very important. Best do it at a bit of a run, if you're nervous. Go on, go now before Ron. Okay, said Harry. He pushed his trolley round and stared at the barrier. It looked very solid. He started to walk towards it. People jostled him on their way to the platforms 9 and 10. Harry walked more quickly. He was going to smash right into that ticket box, and then he'd be in trouble. Leaning forward on his trolley, he broke into a heavy run. The barrier was coming nearer and nearer. He wouldn't be able to stop. The trolley was out of control. He was a foot away. He closed his eyes, ready for the crash. It didn't come. He kept on running. He opened his eyes. A scarlet steam train was waiting next to a platform packed with people. A sign overhead said Hogwarts Express, 11 o'clock. Harry looked behind him and saw a wrought iron archway where the ticket box had been, with the words platform 9 3/4 on it. He had done it. Smoke from the engine drifted over the heads of the chattering crowd, while cats of every colour wound here and there between their legs. Owls hooted to each other in a disgruntled sort of way over the babble and the scraping of heavy trunks. The first few carriages were already packed with students, some hanging out of the windows to talk to their families, some fighting over seats. Harry pushed his trolley off down the platform in search of an empty seat. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, "Gran, I've lost my toad again." "Oh, Neville," he heard the old woman sigh. A boy with dreadlocks was surrounded by a small crowd. "Oh, give us a look, Lee, go on." The boy lifted the lid of a box in his arms, and the people around him shrieked and yelled as something inside poked out a long, hairy leg. So, in a sec, you can watch the clip as well. That is from the first film, and that will help you with your imagination and your description as well. Okay, so when you are planning and when you're doing your writing, you are just writing the bit about the train station. So when you arrive at the train station, when you go through the wall, and then when you come out the other side. Okay, you don't have to go on and on and on and on and on about what happens after that. It's literally the train station bit. Okay, so you carry on with the rest of the lesson slides, and yeah, hopefully you'll have a little plan ready, and then tomorrow we're going to do our big descriptive writing, but I will talk to you more about that tomorrow. Goodbye.